Good morning, everybody. So in today's video, I thought we'd take a look at Bolt Action and just how accessible it is to start playing. Bolt Action is a 28mm war game that's set in World War II, created by Warlord Games, who have made lots of different historical war games. So, the question is, how accessible is this game to get into? So, if you go to boltaction.com, you will be able to see this really cool infographic actually that's really handy to lay out in layman's terms exactly what you need to start playing, and we're going to take a look at that now. So, to get started in Bolt Action World War II wargaming, you'll need 2 players, 2 armies, a copy of the rulebook, and of course somewhere to play. So, 2 armies. You can play a fun game with just a squad or 2, and your forces can be expanded for bigger battles. What is really good with Bolt Action is the price point for its models. So you can pick up a full army of roughly 1,000 points off even Amazon for around £40 to £50. It does get higher as the armies start to add in tanks and other interesting bits and pieces, but as an absolute base force, it's a really kind price point. I'm sure that lots of us that play Warhammer 40k, for instance, have spent more than that on one model, where you now can spend that on an entire army. So you need 2 armies to start playing, one from you, one from a friend. You need a rule book. So the rule book is £30, and they are on 2nd edition. Bolt Action's been going for many years, so it's a game system that doesn't continually need to update its rule books, unlike other game systems which is forcing rules out literally willy-nilly every couple of months. Thirdly, you need a table to play on. That's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, kitchen table, you could even play on the floor in a pinch, to be honest, but, you know, some sort of table. If you're into wargaming already, the likelihood is that you've got a playing surface that you already play on. You need some terrain. Now, as you can see in that picture, there's some really nice ruins, brick walls, hedges, trees, all sorts of things. Terrain is subjective. As I've said in many videos in the past, I've played back in the day using teacups. I've played using all sorts of different things. If it's a game that you are interested in, naturally over time you build up a scenery collection to go with it, and then that allows you to customise the look and feel of your battlefields. You need dice and a tape measure. So Bolt Action is played using D6 dice, and again, if you play other sort of games, even if you play card games like Magic the Gathering and stuff like that, you can have D6 dice kicking around, so it's the most common denominator of dice practically in the world. Tape measure, again, really simple. You can pick one up for £1 from your local Wilko's. Everybody has access, or can have access to, a tape measure. So, collect an army. You've got infantry units, you've got transports, you've got tanks, you've got massive gun emplacements, you can have aircraft, although aircraft aren't particularly prevalent in Bolt Action, not like they are in other game systems. And then, you know, it says historical inspiration. One of the best aspects of World War II wargaming is discovering the history of the conflict. That's a good point. I'm really interested in World War II. I always have been since I was a kid, when my great-grandfather was telling me stories of how he was an air raid warden, and all the different stories that came with that. It just gripped me. I mean, an horrific time in the world's history. Nobody can deny that, but also extremely interesting to learn about. So all the models come on sprues and unpainted, so you need to assemble your models and paint your models, but again, that's the same with any any sort of game system. There's very few these days where the models come all in one piece. Marvel's Crisis Protocol, I think, are probably the exception there. They come ready. Dungeons and Dragons miniatures come sort of ready done usually. But most sort of wargaming, it's a sprue. You put it together. Now, I will say that the models can be a little bit finicky, mainly just due to the sizing. And if you've ever assembled, for instance, Necron Warriors for Warhammer 40k, the arms and the guns, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say they can be a bit finicky. So, fighting the battle, much like other game systems, you have deployment, zones in your rulebook, you have missions, so objectives that you are trying to complete in the games. But what is really different with Bolt Action is that it uses order dice. Now this, I think, is probably the best thing going for this game system. So Bolt Action uses special order dice to decide which players can move or shoot with one of their squads. That player chooses which squad to use, and then another dice is drawn. So basically what this means is that for every unit that you have in your army and on the board, you have an order dice. Now that order dice goes into a bag, can go into a bowl, it can go into anything you like really, along with your opponent's order dice for the amount of units that they have. You swirl it around a little bit, without looking, pick out a dice. The colour of the dice matches the colour of, you or your opponent's army, and you get to activate a unit, which is really cool. So instead of a standard, say, 40k game, where player 1 does all of his movement, his shooting, his assaulting, his psychic, everything else, and then it goes to player 2, and he does a full turn. In this game, it's all based on randomization, which is really, really great, because it also spices the battle up, but it doesn't give anybody a particular clear advantage necessarily. So, you've got to think about your placement, think about target prioritization, all these sorts of things that you do in other games. So, there's still a real depth to playing it in the sense of, a bit like a game of chess, you versus your opponent trying to outwit them. But the randomization of the dice is a great feature. So you can put all your dice in, and your opponent gets to activate 3 units before you activate 1. Then he pulls out another 2 dice that he gets to activate, so he's gone 5 times to your 1. However, you can now react to that. Or it could be that you just get a good run and he's pulling out your dice every which way, and you get to shoot down, take out an enemy tank. Or there's all sorts of applications to it. The order dice really does make it a very, very interesting game system. And then much like every other game, you've got your movement, your shooting, your assault, but all the orders that you can do are on the dice. So you can go down, you can wait in ambush, you can advance, you can run, you can shoot. And when you've activated that unit, you just pop the dice next to them to let you know that that unit's been activated and which action that you took. So that's a brief outline of the system. When we're talking now about accessibility, we need to talk obviously about pricing. So like I said before, the rulebook, £30, second edition. The army books, which are effectively your codexes if you know Games Workshop games, are £20. So just the book, £20. Now the books themselves contain fluff, lore, well, not lore, it's history, it's fact, but they contain different sort of eras and periods, because obviously, the Second World War was fought over many years, and they're just really good. Really good. They don't often need updating like other game systems. So again, you're not constantly spending money, which I love about this game system as well. because in other game systems you can literally, you're on a roller coaster that you never stop opening your wallet up. But there's no need for that in this game whatsoever. You know, it's been very well written. Don't get me wrong, with any game there's things you like about it, there's things you don't like about it, and I'm not saying for a second that Bolt Action is the absolute shining beacon and it's perfect, but it is really fun, and the price points of everything are really, really acceptable to get new people in. You know, when you can pick up brand new armies for very, very little money, that's just an absolute bonus. So we go Bolt Action and let's have a look at Armies of Great Britain, yeah? So there's a pre-order going on now. Okay, let's have a look at this. And this is a Italians Commandos battle set, which is £130. Doesn't look too shabby to me. So you got 2 armies, you got a rule book, you got some terrain, you've got 2 sets of order dice, pin markers, you've got, you know, £130. Now tell me, when looking at other game systems, whether or not you think you can get that much value for the same, because I just don't see it, guys. Now, you know, Bolt Action might be something that you have never thought of playing and still have no interest in even after this video. But if you've ever been interested in it, like I was back in the day, and I waited and I dragged my heels, the minute I bought an army and Ryan bought an army and we played that first game, it was really enjoyable. And I thought to myself, for the money that I've just spent on this, why did I drag my heels so much when I was willing to go out and buy an Imperial Knight model, just one model, and I've been able to get everything that I need to play this game for the same money as one model. You know. So, hope this little overview of Bolt Action and its accessibility has helped you maybe think about starting to play it. Let us know in the comment section down below whether or not you'd like to see more Bolt Action content, because like I say, me and Ryan both have fully painted, fully done Bolt Action armies, and we do quite enjoy the game system. So if that's content that you would like to see, we'd be more than happy to figure out a way to bring that to you. As always, thank you very much for your continued support on the channel. Hope that you have a fantastic day, whatever you're doing, and as always, happy gaming.